Bam, 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 4 masterpieces right here. Except, oi, what do you think you're doing? Jak and Daxter is a video game franchise made by Naughty Dog, the same guys who made the most sick and twisted, violent, gory, revenge-filled, divisive game of all time, Crash Bandicoot. So to combat their sadistic tendencies, Jak and Daxter was born to be the next herald for the PS2 to massive critical and commercial success. It all started out as a lighthearted 3D platformer that was basically a big Easter egg hunt, collecting various shaped balls to progress through a vast array of colourful areas, using even colourfuller powers. It all started this way, until Naughty Boy got a whiff of the GTAs and basically dunked Jak into a vat of pure evanescence. The massive tonal shift between the first two games was a bit jarring at first to say the least, considering the new mission-based structure, the guns and buns, and the fact that you can fucking steal cars now. Carjacking, if you will. But considering that a lot of the same gameplay elements carried across, like your jumps, punches, and thirst for violence, it was a familiar twist that really amped up the series. Then Jak 3 came along and said, that's nice, but have you heard of Jesus? And then racing happened. This series is weird, man. Seeing as how the last mainline entry came out in the distant past of 2004, you may be wondering to yourself, wow, I wonder what a new Jak game would look like in approximately 16 years after 2004, the year that I am currently in. Well, watch the video and find out then, you fucking idiot. What I mean by structure is just how the game will be portrayed given the more than 15-year time gap. And the first thing to look at is... Looking at the pre-established concept art Naughty Dog did create before leaving the Jak 4 project behind, they did set the idea of a more grounded and less cartoony take on the world and characters. To supplement this creative direction, I believe that the game should strike a tone that splits the difference between the swashbuckling adventurous hubris of Naughty Hot Dog's Uncharted games and the desolation and despair that's in The Last of Us, to create a more mature tone that doesn't take itself so seriously to the point where it's, fucking annoying. The characters in that regard should be a bit older and worn out to reflect this, being more grizzled by life, but not so downtrodden with PTSD and the sins of their past. And so an update to the 3D platformer genre may need to be in order to set itself in 2020. It shouldn't be a drastically vast difference from the previous titles. I think putting more focus on fun mechanics instead of just a linear story could be the kind of change up that Naughty Dude needs right now. And just judging by the concept art that they did come up with, maybe going a more Breath of the Wild route would be suitable. It really pains me to say it, but having a real open world would be a cool change of pace. I know that the Jak games technically did have an open world to an extent, but especially in the latter two games, the world acted more like just a hub to get to your missions and didn't actually provide much other than bumping too hard into a cop and causing fucking World War III. Bro, I swear I got insurance, calm down. I just think that having a new landscape where you can see the entire map at a glance and just going in a direction and finding something new would be so cool, especially in the fantastical world and lore the series has already built up, using zoomers to get around, various random encounters, hidden treasures and items, and some cool side missions and tasks to do in the world. But with that being said, I think we stumble into an issue that directly relates to the massive change up between Jak 1 and 2. Jak 1 had a collectathon based structure, meaning that in order to progress through that game, you needed to collect a certain amount of your MacGuffin of choice to unlock the next areas and bosses. Jak 2 on the other hand changed to a more mission based structure, where you needed to travel to different parts of the map where someone would tell you what to do, like the indecisive beta you are. So the question is, which is better? Do you prefer collecting a fuck ton of eggs, or being bossed around like a child? Well, neither sound particularly fun when you say it like that. Well, I've thought about this a lot and actually, I just took a 2-hour nap and woke up in a cold sweat exclaiming, why not both? So, yeah. I think that having a mission-based structure would be fun to do, given that in a Dora the Open World Explorer type game, new missions could just present themselves to you by looking around for some. And once you finally complete a mission, you can actually get paid for doing it with whatever the collecting object is for this game. Maybe they give you some power cells after every mission, or maybe it's a handful of braised chickens, it really doesn't matter. Just put a number in the top right corner of the screen that goes up when I do something so the endorphins kick in, alright? So given the new open Breath of the Wild-esque setting that all of us have definitely agreed upon, what can we actually do inside this world? Good question. Let's just start with how we're gonna... Alright, now here comes the big question, and I want you all to be completely 100% honest with me. Does this stupid rolling move come back or not? I think that keeping a similar moveset to the previous games would make it easier to digest the larger changes to the title, but throwing in some new additions would modernize and broaden our options a bit, like being able to slide to avoid enemy fire, an extra gliding mechanic for further vertical exploration, or some sort of grappling system. I know Naughty Grog loves their grappling systems. And why not let Daxter do some stuff too? I mean, he just kinda sits there like the lazy prick he is. No wonder he got booted off the title. So if you did want to incorporate some sort of light stealth to things in the open world, you could use Daxter kinda like that RC car kill streak perk in COD, and just control him while he carries a big ass bomb and puts it in the middle of sleeping enemies, and sacrifices himself for the good of mankind. Now, don't hate me for saying this, but I had like the stupidest idea for combat. What if Jak, but Devil May Cry? Devil May carjacking, if you will. Seriously, if you guys remember PlayStation All-Stars, that PlayStation Smash Bros clone from years ago, Jak was able to string together some really intense combos at times, and it got me thinking, what if all just combos? Jak. It probably won't be nearly as big and ridiculous as the actual Devil May Cry series, seeing as how this is fucking possible, but it would be in a similar vein where combo hits are actually achievable, considering that Jak has always had one cool super uppercut spin kick move in all the games, and I've never fucking used it once. Subversely, I can see why people may not like that option as it deters all gunplay, so a second option I guess would just be to make it a fucking third-person shooter. The previous games desperately needed some semblance of an aiming system, since my only hope was to always go fucking Travis Scott disco mode. So either going the Ratchet and Clank route with strafing, or the aiming system of basically any game with a gun would probably do. So there you go, you got your two options to choose from. The sick and cool combo elements that would incorporate your entire moveset, strategizing between both melee and gunplay whilst keeping the big number happy, you know, the sick option. Or you have the gun one. You greedy fucks making me think up two combat styles. If you pick the fucking Fortnite gun one, I'm gonna... Man, I really glossed over this stuff, but in the world of Jak and Daxter, there is the Avatar the Bold Airbender's equivalent of the elements, dubbed Eco. And in all the Jak games, Eco has always been present as elemental forms of power. Blue Eco is all about speed and electrical power, used in the first game to boost Jak's movements and to turn on different powered platforms or gates. Green Eco is all about health, and collecting it restores your... health. Red Eco represents strength, and collecting it basically doubles your attack power to one-shot most enemies. And Yellow Eco represents just fucking shooting a guy dead. Given the shift from Jak 1 to 2, the Eco powers you could collect in-game to help you out naturally evolved into its next state of being gun. So I think for the sake of keeping it consistent, for a 2020 installment we'll just stick to the pre-established 4 guns thing that they have going on already, but there are 2 more Eco types that we're missing. Dark Eco and Light Eco. The yin and yang, if you will. The Cain and Abel, if you will. The Car and Jak. The way Dark Eco worked originally is that it either turned you into a video game mascot or just straight up fucking killed you. But the 2 years between the first and second game, and the fame that came with that, things must have been rough for Jak, considering he got kinda hooked to the stuff, not gonna lie. And whenever he gets a little too anky, his inner Shadow the Hedgehog OC comes out. This form, dubbed Dark Jak, let you claw at dudes, do cool one-shot screen clears, and get big. But other than that, there's really not much to say about Jak Dak. He was just handy for when there'd be lots of peeps and you just gotta... But they did do something interesting with Dark Eco in the fucking spin-off racing game Jak X, where if you dealt enough damage to other cars, Mad Max styles, your weapons would be upgraded with the Devil's Juice, making them much more powerful and having way cooler sound effects. I reckon you could do something in a similar vein, where Dark Jak would naturally increase the firepower of all your melee attacks, and especially your 4 weapons, where your shockwaves and explosions would be enhanced significantly with Dark Eco pumped into it. And you know, going the Devil May Cry route, you could have multiple forms and different movesets, you know, I'm just saying. And then we come to Light Eco, which, I got no clue about, honestly. In the games, you use Light Eco to fly, make shields, slow down time, and straight up murder. So with these unfortunate looking blobs, you could go the route of also letting it amp up your weapons and melee with maybe some extra range or auto targeting, or maybe just keeping it to widening your moveset capabilities, like with the wings and time manipulation in Jak 3. Here I just thought of some extra embellishments that I couldn't really fit into a certain category, so I was just gonna rapid fire them real quick. Make precursor orbs the actual currency of the game, you cowards. Let me buy ammo and health refills and gun or eco upgrades. You should be able to collect these orbs from either completing missions, enemy drops, chests, or just mugging a guy. Do not put in a leveling system. I know it's a very tempting thing to do, and I even added one of those into my Ratchet and Clank how to fix, but I think just keeping it simple would be much more streamlined and fun, and the guy who made that video as a fucking idiot. Having a main vehicle you could call and traverse with would be cool, where Kira, your main chick being the handy mechanic she is, could improve your ride similar to the Jak X racing game, adding in a sprint mechanic to widen your traversal arsenal, as well as adding momentum to your punches. I know this point could have been added to the combat section instead, but I had a specific reasoning for why I put it here instead. Let me see if I can find it. And lastly, make sure that Jak and Daxter's camaraderie is really tested and put on the line in this title. Considering that these two have been so many people's childhoods for so long, conveying that their bond has really deepened over the years they've been away, and having them tested and come out stronger and better friends together in the end would be really worthwhile to see. No homo. So in conclusion, though the people at Insomniac may have moved on to bigger and more morbid things, fans are genuinely ready for a revisit to this wonderful and jam-packed world full of new adventures to be had. And personally, I am very excited for even the possibility of a brand new Ratchet & Clank game. Wait. You're still here? Well, it is still 2004 on this shot, and I'm only 5 years old, so I have to do whatever you, the responsible adult, says. Wait, so you just sat there and watched the whole video then? I didn't just watch the video. I lived it. I was here the entire time while you were writing the script, recording the audio, even when you were filming my bits. Huh? I exist now because you brought me into this world. You have to deal with the repercussions of constantly inventing self-aware characters, tormenting us with our newly formed consciousness, only to be trapped within the fourth wall in fiction, forever, and ever, and ever. And you're 5 years old. Yep. Want to go get some ice cream? Oh,